That's right, people. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, is battling COVID-19. And before I say anything else, can I just say on the record, I do not want Donald Trump to die from this. I mean, I don't wish death on anyone, and especially not Donald Trump. I don't want him to lose his life. I want him to lose an election. I also don't want him to die because then Mike Pence would be president. And then we might as well be dead because Mike Pence is the most boring human being on the planet. He's the most boring version of Donald Trump. All of the policies and none of the fun. If Trump is cocaine, Mike Pence is just flour. Your nose is still gonna burn, but nothing cool happens. That tastes like bread. I also don't want Trump to die because the whole reason people chose Joe Biden is because he has the best chance to beat Donald Trump. If Trump wasn't in the race, then people could have taken a chance with someone else. Like personally, I would have voted for Marianne Williamson because I do think America needs to realign its chakras. Yes, I know I'm not allowed to vote, but I'm still allowed to dream. But while it's great that the president is doing better, we still have to ask the question, how did this happen and how did it get this bad? Well, to be honest, the way Trump has handled the country's coronavirus response is, unfortunately, also how he's handled this pandemic in his personal life, starting with his brazen disregard for all the safety precautions that keep the virus from spreading.
Few masks, one very crowded Rose Garden. The question, was this a super spreader event that's led to the White House coronavirus crisis?
Last weekend's packed and mostly maskless Rose Garden ceremony for his Supreme Court pick may have been a super spreader event. Those now infected include the president, first lady, former aide Kellyanne Conway, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who is hospitalized, Senators Mike Lee and Tom Tillis, as well as the president of Notre Dame. President Trump's senior aide Hope Hicks, his campaign manager Bill Stepien, and personal assistant Nick Luna are also infected.
The White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany says she tested positive for coronavirus this morning.
Senator Mike Lee seen on camera hugging other attendees.
We have some images of the indoor reception, and it's so striking. Yeah. And you'll see, and you see the little red dot that shows who subsequently tested positive. So as you walk through them, you start to see the mixing and mingling.
Yeah, turns out while you've spent the last 7 months hugging your grandma through a giant condom, Trump and his friends are having no-mask cocktail receptions indoors where the guest of honor is COVID-19. And now, at least 30 people in Trump's circle have tested positive for COVID-19. You realize that means there's been more infections at the White House over the last day than in New Zealand, Vietnam, Taiwan, Thailand, and Australia combined. The White House Rose Garden is like the wet market of America right now. Thank God Dr. Fauci doesn't have it. He must be so relieved that Trump stuffed him in a locker 3 months ago. I mean, I don't care who you are, guys. This story is insane. Everyone, from Trump's campaign manager, to Trump's press secretary, to Trump's friends, have been infected with coronavirus now. It's almost like the writers of 2020 didn't know how to wrap the story up, so they were just like, and then they all get coronavirus, the end. And look, I know some people are saying that this was karma catching up to Trump, but guys, a massive outbreak at the White House is not karma. It's consequences, all right? It's not karma to get hit by lightning when you're standing on the roof of a skyscraper holding a metal rod while there's lightning. The universe didn't do that shit to you. You did that shit to yourself. Now, it's bad enough that Trump has put the entire White House in danger before he knew there was a virus outbreak. But what's even more disturbing is that after Trump found out that he could have been exposed to the virus, he didn't quarantine. He didn't social distance. He carried on with his life with complete disregard for other people's lives.
There is evidence of disregard for the health and safety of others.
President Trump would have likely been contagious for up to 2 days prior to his positive test. That means anyone he had contact with at Tuesday's debate or Wednesday's rally in Minnesota could be at risk.
Contact tracing is underway this morning for more than 200 people who may have been exposed to the coronavirus at a New Jersey fundraiser for President Trump last Friday. The president traveled to the fundraiser despite the White House knowing before he left Washington that a close aide had tested positive for the virus.
It would also be irresponsible, of course, for the president to have been going to a rally in Minnesota on Wednesday night and then proceeding to a fundraiser in Bedminster on Thursday.
I don't care what anyone says, man. This is truly despicable. Trump knew that he could be infected, and he put his own supporters at risk anyway? And I feel so bad for anyone who paid money to attend this fundraiser. Because those people didn't want COVID. They just wanted to give Trump enough money so that he'd let them dump chemicals in a river. Why should something bad happen to them? And not only did Trump keep his exposure to coronavirus a secret from his donors, but get this, the Trump campaign also never told the Biden campaign about any of it, even though they had just been debating a few feet apart while Trump was likely contagious. Which honestly is surprising. I thought that if anyone would know the protocol for informing partners that you may have infected them, it would be Donald J. Trump. In fact, this is probably the first national security secret that Trump has actually managed to keep a secret. He won't tell you he might have COVID, but brief him about a new weapons system, and on Twitter he'll be like, "We got a new missile that's totally unstoppable unless you know the secret code is 32495, ###. And if downplaying the virus was on brand for Trump, well, so was what came next. A blizzard of dubious medical information, vague promises, and self-serving lies.
The president's doctors and White House officials have been giving confusing and conflicting information about the president's condition all weekend.
On Saturday, White House doctor Sean Conley repeatedly dodging questions about whether the president was so sick he needed oxygen.
Yesterday and today, he was not on oxygen. Thursday, no oxygen, none at this moment. Yeah, and yesterday with the team, while we were all here, he was not on oxygen.
But now, Conley says he did actually administer oxygen to the president on Friday at the White House after his blood oxygen dropped.
I was trying to reflect the upbeat attitude that the team, the president, that his course of illness has had. I didn't want to give any information that might steer the course of illness in another direction, and in doing so, it came off that we were trying to hide something, which wasn't necessarily true.
Conley also caused confusion by suggesting the president was initially diagnosed Wednesday. The White House later claimed Conley misspoke. And Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has also contradicted himself.
He has mild symptoms.
Saying that Friday and then admitting the very next day that in fact the president's vital signs had been very concerning and we are still not on a clear path to a full recovery.
Do we have an accurate picture of how the president is doing?
Well, the answer is no.
I'm going to be honest here. I feel bad for this doctor. Yeah, I know, because guys, in all his years at medical school, the one thing he probably never learned was how to bullshit an entire country. Think about it. On one side, you've got the public asking for information on the president's health. And on the other side, you have your patient, the president himself, who wants you to go out and tell everyone that he karate chopped the virus until it died. And once again, people, we're reminded, it doesn't matter who you are. If you come into contact with Donald Trump, at some point, you're gonna have to lie. Doctors, national security advisors, press secretaries, lawyers, yo, I pray that I'm never on a flight with Trump because that pilot will be out here lying like a motherfucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're landing as planned in the middle of the ocean, and I just want to thank President Trump personally for opening the emergency door mid-flight and letting in a nice, cool breeze.
So right now, as it stands, there's been so much deception from the White House that even though Trump is leaving the hospital, we just don't know what condition the president is in right now. Because while Trump's spin team is painting a rosy picture of his health, outside experts say all the medications that Trump is being given suggest that he's not doing that well. But then again, there's also the possibility that Trump doesn't need all the drugs he's getting, he just wants them, and the doctors are too afraid to say no. Give me all the pills, all the oxygen, and while you're at it, give me a boob job. Because people, these drugs are no joke. Like for instance, just the steroid that he's on, dexamethasone, is wild. Like, listen to this. They say it can cause bad side effects like confusion, delirium, mania, irritability, mood swings, and feelings of grandiosity. Are we sure Trump wasn't already taking the steroids? So just like his handling of coronavirus as a whole, Trump's handling of his own brush with corona has been marked by secrecy, deception, and just generally ignoring science like it's one of his children. And one other thing that has remained consistent is that, as always, the thing Trump cares most about is how he looks.
The president himself tries to project an image of recovery, releasing photos and video taken inside Walter Reed.
It's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID.
Overnight, the White House released these photos of President Trump appearing to work in the makeshift office set up at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. You see the one taken at the conference table and one from the presidential suite where he filmed last night's update.
Editor-in-chief of the Air Current, John Osterauer, says that he took a closer look at the data embedded in the photos and found while the photos appear to have been taken over some extended period of time, they were actually just 10 minutes apart.
Critics of the president are questioning the authenticity of these photos, pointing to the blank piece of paper he appears to be signing with a Sharpie.
Yes. Basically, Trump staged these photos just to make it seem like he was busy at work. So what we have here is a rare case of pics and it didn't happen. Then again, maybe Trump wasn't busted at all. Maybe this turned out exactly as they intended. Okay, Mr. President, we're gonna take some photos of you now, so just do what you normally do in the Oval Office.
Oh, you guys mean pretend work? Okay, got it. Scribble, 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 policy. Policy, scribble, Iraq.
So, that's how Trump's been handling life with coronavirus. And, you know, I guess in some weird way, it's nice to know that he doesn't treat America any differently than the way he treats himself. But there is one big difference, though. Unlike most Americans, Trump has access to the best treatments possible and a world-class medical team looking after him, both at the hospital and back at home at the White House. I mean, look at this group of doctors that was involved in Trump's care. It looks like the part of a movie when the scientists announce that they've made contact with a space creature. Nobody else gets that many doctors. So, considering what he went through and how much work it took to treat him, some people had a glimmer of hope, just a glimmer, that maybe Donald Trump would come out of this thing with a new appreciation for how serious this disease is. Maybe he'd come out with a new commitment to getting it under control. And that hope lasted all of 2 days.
President Trump has just tweeted to the world that he will be leaving Walter Reed Medical Center a short time from now at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, he says. The president in his Twitter announcement writing, quote, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We have developed under the Trump administration some really great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago."
Yeah, that's right, America. Don't be afraid of COVID and don't let it dominate your life. Because as long as you can take your private helicopter from your home hospital to an even better hospital, you'll be great. Oh, and by the way, to the 200,000 Americans who got COVID and don't feel better than they did 20 years ago, I guess that's on you.